For our next project, we're going to create a pierced pendant out of copper. And this is going to be something where you're going to use a saw and a blade to cut away areas from a flat piece of copper. So today you're going to come up with some designs in order to do that. So in a later class, we'll talk about how to use the tools and how this will work. But basically what happens is you're going to create a design, kind of like the one shown above. This design has to have an outer shape, and then you have to think about the areas that will be cut away inside of the shape. In order to cut away areas inside of the shape, we'll have to drill a hole in the areas that you want to cut away. When you drill the hole, you then thread a blade from your saw through the hole in order to cut away the inside pieces. So this sounds a little tricky, but it's kind of similar to if you had like a piece of paper and you're trying to cut shapes out of the inside of the piece of paper. You need to think about, how are you going to do that? So for this project, I'll show you that and how it works in the future. But for now, you're going to come up with a design. The design has to have at least 3 areas that are cut away on the inside. Like these have more than that, but it has to have these negative space areas that are cut away. And then also an interesting shape on the outside of the pendant as well. So for this, make sure that you read through all of the requirements and how to create the pendant, just so you're familiar. To come up with your design, you are going to choose an art period, and you're going to have to research a lot of these different art periods to kind of get ideas. So for your design, it has to be based off of an art movement or an art period. So you can start to copy and paste these into Google and kind of see what they're all about and see if any of them give you any inspiration. So if I go over to Google, you can see I just Googled art eras. You could Google surrealism, cubism, and let's just click on one of these. If I go to cubism, I can do a little research and discover that it's an abstract where things don't look as they appear in real life. They're abstracted into these shapes. So could you come up with a design for your jewelry that's based off of cubism? It could be that you want to do a pendant of a specific object, and then maybe you abstract that object like a flower, say, and you can make it into simple shapes. Let's look at a couple student examples. So cubism is made up of many shapes. This was a student example, and this was just a bunch of different rectangles that they pieced together. They cut it out of one single piece of metal, and you can see where the rectangles overlap by the shapes that are produced in the negative space areas. So this was an example of cubism. It's not representing any specific object. It's very abstract. But you could create like a flower or something out of shapes as well and call that cubism as well. Another example here is pop art. Pop art, let's go back here. I saw that on the list. Pop art, was very fun, almost cartoon style. It has a lot of these pops, like comics. So I had a student create a jewelry piece based off of pop art, and actually a few different ones. Here's one they did letters with an exclamation point. Wow. Let's see, this one was based off of pop art as well. See, there's several areas cut out in the middle, and then they also have this outer shape as well. They had to make sure that these edges of this little pop cloud touch the edge of the outer square so it didn't all fall apart when they cut it. So you have to think about positive and negative space, what is going to work and stick together, and so things don't all fall apart when you design them.